Stacy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the dance department specific webinar. We're here to talk about California State Summer School for the Arts, also known as CSSSA. We are joined by dance chair Gregory Dawson, and we are also joined by CSSSA admin and
I'm gonna
support Ellie and Stacy. And I have a
I'm gonna put
few.
myself,
You want to go on mute, Gregory?
but yeah, I'm gonna be on mute, and I have about.
Great. So before we really begin, I have some information that I'm going to share about CISA just as a whole, kind of general information, and then we can get into the more dance specific information and the assignments for the application. So for those of you who are unaware, unfamiliar, we're talking about California State Summer School for the Arts, also known as CSSSA. It's a month-long residential summer art program for high school students in the state of California. We're a state-run program. We've been around for almost 40 years. This webinar is meant to serve as application support for anybody who is considering coming to the CSSSA program for dance. So if you have a question, you can put it in the chat and we will go through kind of a Q&A at the end and answer all of your questions. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So this is our community. We're composed of over 400 students, and we have about 150 faculty and staff that support the students during the summer session. So the ratio of student to teacher is about 3 students to 1 teacher. It's a lot of individualized attention and one-on-one time with your instructor. We pull from across the state as it is part of our mission to represent each of the 58 California counties. In addition, we have a small number of students who come from out of state and even international regions. We keep that pool small to about 20 students out of the 400 plus student community because we want the bulk of our population to be California state students because, we're a California state program. It's our mission to represent California's diverse cultural heritage through our student body, through our faculty, and of course, through our artistic and academic curriculum. So we're located on the Cal Poly Pomona campus. As I said, CSA is residential, which means you come to Cal Poly Pomona and you live there for 4 weeks. This is kind of a high schooler's chance to live like a creative college student while they're still in high school. Get a little independence, a little time away from the parents and or siblings, and kind of come into your own while studying an art form. While you're on campus, you have access to all of the amenities that Cal Poly Pomona has to offer, state-of-the-art technology, labs, shops, performance spaces, studio spaces. You're going to live in the dorms. You'll have your meals in the main cafeteria. CISA provides 24/7 safety and security for all students, including RAs or resident assistants that live in the dorms with the students and are on call for any issue that might pop up or anything that students need. We also provide recreational activities and field trips for students. We go to the J. Paul Getty Museum, we go to Disneyland, we have recreational activities like movie nights, game nights, craft nights, things to do or things for students to do when they're not working on their art. And then certain artistic disciplines may take their own field trips. For example, music has gone to the Hollywood Bowl in years past. The visual arts program has gone to the Huntington Gardens. Film and animation may go to screenings. There's lots to do when you're not working on your art. So it's an online application. The application has 4 main parts to it. You can access the application by going to cisa.ca.gov/application. And the first part is you're going to fill out your contact information and that of your parents or guardian. There's a $20 application fee, but waivers are granted for students at the end of the application. If you request one, where you're going to see a drop-down menu and you'll self-select why you would need a fee waiver if you're economically disadvantaged. The second part are references. Now, these are recommendation letters, rather just the contact information of a teacher or a mentor or an artist that we could contact if we have questions about your application, though not everybody will be contacted. And again, it's just the contact information. You're not asking this person to write you a letter, but it could be somebody that you would ask to write you a letter of recommendation. And then the third part are transcripts. You can upload an unofficial copy to the online app. We are only certifying your grade level when we review these transcripts. We're not looking at grades at all. This CSSA program is meant for high school students. You can be as young as eighth grade, going into ninth grade, all the way up to senior in high school, going into college. It's that age range that we're looking for. And you would be surprised how many seventh graders try to slip in there. So that's why we need those unofficial transcripts. And then the fourth part are the arts assignments, which are outlined on our website for each discipline. They request you prepare several visual, audio, or written work to support your application. And we'll be going over the dance arts assignments in a short while. So the application deadline is coming up February 28th, 2026 at 6 p.m. You want to make sure you have all your necessary documents and assignments completed and submitted by that final hour at the latest. The CSSA team will review your application during the month of March, and notifications will go out the following month. We always encourage students to apply early. Give yourself enough time to apply early, at least 48 hours before that application deadline. If not a week before, is always a good idea. Sometimes students have upload issues or, you submit the wrong JPEG. And if you're trying to submit last minute, you may not have time to, contact CSSA or the application support help team to make sure the issue is resolved. So that's why we always recommend submit your application as early as you can, just in case you run into, any issues. And also we can tell when it was submitted last minute. So give yourself time to submit the best application possible. So we're here to talk about the dance program, and I'll kick it over to Gregory in a second, but first I'll just kind of go through the overview of the dance program. So the core classes that you're going to be taking are ballet, modern, improvisation, composition, jazz, hip hop slash funk. You're going to be taking dance conditioning, injury prevention, and nutrition, kind of learning all things dance, learning about, how to take care of your instrument and learning all the different kinds of genres of dances. You'll also explore workshops and master classes in a variety of dance styles, repertoire, and technique. And Gregory is really great about bringing professionals from all walks of the dance industry to create work with you and to teach you. And it's just an incredible range of professionals who come in and share their work with you. And then finally, there will be a final dance presentation of work developed over the course of the program. So at the end of your 4 weeks, you will do a final dance presentation of choreography that you've learned from your teachers, from each other, from the guest artist, and it will be this beautiful final showing of all of your work. And it's always such an incredible opportunity to showcase yourself, to get that performance experience and to see and have your peers see all of the work that has been created and all the hard work that you've put in during CSSA. Gregory, anything to add?
You did really well. I think that this year, unlike in years past, because you're on a new campus, we'll be able to have tap for those workshops and exploring other opportunities.
Amazing. Tap, how exciting. Great. Well, without further ado, let's move on to the arts assignments for dance. So assignment A is going to be record one video with the following, and it's going to have a few different parts. So the first part is an introduction. You're going to introduce yourself, and you're going to talk about your dance experience and also what you hope to gain by joining CSSA. If you do ballet point, hip hop, tap dancing, or other genres of dance, talk about how long you've been doing them, kind of your relationship with dance. And what's really important to note is, again, what you hope to gain by joining CSSA. That's what like a lot of the disciplines want to know. Like, what is it you have to give, and what is it you hope to take away from your experience at CSSA? Gregory, anything to add?
Yes. On the written, on the video portion, we ask that there are no edits. So if you're going to present your presentation about your history, then go into your warm up, then go into your solo. the whole video should be only 2 minutes.
Great. Yeah, just keep it rolling. So then next, after a short video introduction, you're going to execute a standing dance warm-up. And the warm-up must emphasize your strength, stretch, balance, coordination, and rhythm. Please include jumps and turns, and you may use music if you wish to, warm up to. Gregory, you will allow kind of a backing track of music for students. And Gregory, you want to make sure that the dance students are positioning the camera so that you see their whole body, correct?
Yes, their whole body, and they could be the only person in the shot.
Wonderful. And then after your intro, after your standing dance warm up, you will go straight into your performance slash choreography. So you're going to perform one or two compositions that you've learned from either another choreographer or that you've choreographed yourself. And before you start, you will describe your selection, indicating who the choreographer is and the musical composer at the beginning of each section. So at the beginning of the first one that you perform and the second one that you perform. And Gregory asked that you do not include any group performance videos or videos of you dancing. He really wants you to be in the moment, intro, warm up, dance, no cuts. Is that correct, Gregory?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Amazing, amazing. And now, if there are any returning students on this call, you're going to write a short essay, one page, about 500 words of your reasons for wanting to return to CSSSA. Of course, in addition, all of your assignments must be new, so you'll have to remake another dance video showing your growth, and then you'll talk about why you want to return to the summer session, what you hope to gain from CSSSA, and again, what you have to offer the CSSSA community. Gregory, anything to add?
No, you're doing wonderful. You're doing wonderful.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So just to re-emphasize, we'll go back here. You're going to film one continuous video. The video will start with a short introduction of introducing yourself, talking about your experience in dance and what you hope to gain by joining CSSSA, and then any experience in the different dance genres that you have and how long you've been doing them. You're going to execute a standing dance warm-up where we can see your whole entire body and include jumps and turns. You can use music in this portion if you wish, and then you'll go straight into your performance or choreography. So it's just one continuous take, and that's it. If you're not a returner, you don't have to write anything. You can just say it all in the intro. But if you are returning, just please include a short essay of why you want to return. So that's it for the slides. I'm going to stop the share, and anybody who has questions, you can put them in the chat, and Gregory will start to answer questions. Great. So I will go ahead and spotlight Gregory, add myself, and I'll add Stacy as well, because sometimes, some student life related questions pop up. Okay, let's dive into the chat here. So I don't see any dance related questions quite yet, but I have my own questions for Gregory that I get sometimes on the
Yeah.
recruiting trail. Gregory, what is important to bring for the dance program?
Well, it's important to bring attire for ballet and for modern. And if you're going to tap, bring your tap shoes. If you go to the website, um, all of this information is written on the dance portion of the website.
Wonderful. And Gregory, how can students best prepare themselves to study at CSSSA?
I think it's really important that before the students come to the program this summer, because the program is a rigorous program, that they do some kind of cross training or rigorous dance training before they come to the session. At least 1 or 2 weeks, just so that their bodies are able to intake all of the information and the physical activity that they'll be involved in.
And speaking of this activity, can you take us through kind of a day in the life of a CISA dance student, kind of how the schedule will go?
Sure, sure. I mean, it depends on the day. I'll give you Monday. So Monday, well, when they first come to the session, the first Monday, there's a placement for ballet for modern and contemporary. The students also have an opportunity to create on their cohort. So there is a composition class, and that is ran by Sam Wentz, our modern contemporary teacher, and he will lead and select the artists who will be creating on the cohorts. And then you'll go into an afternoon session, which might be an elective, um, which could be a guest artist, which could be choreography being created by Sam Wentz or Alejandro or myself. In the evening, usually it's composition and a rehearsal with me. On Wednesdays, we have gyrokinesis, which is a conditioning class. Um, and then they might go into a partnering class. Um, and then in the afternoons, they'll have composition, an elective, and then choreography with me. Saturdays are different, they're shorter days.
Great. And they will they do collaborations with other disciplines?
Yes, yes. I mean, it's difficult because our time at CSA is 4 weeks seems like a long time, but they're not. It's not very long. But for instance, last year, the students got to collaborate with the whole school on with the artist whose name is slipping my mind right now, who comes from Texas.
Sonia?
Sonia, yeah. And then they get to collaborate with different departments as well. Last year, we collaborated with animation, which was really fun. Um, we have you teach improv. We have other faculty members come in to do something with the dancers.
Amazing. And Gregory, is this program, is a student without a lot of dance experience, will they be able to attend this program?
Yes, by all means. I mean, not everybody has the same technical level, but each individual have their own artistic voice that deserves to be explored. So we try to level out the students so that they're in specific levels and they're most comfortable with retaining and receiving technical information. We also offer terminology courses in ballet and modern as well, um, to help and aid the students comprehend the combinations they'll be receiving in ballet classes.
Great. And if students don't have a lot of experience with composition or with learning choreography, again, is that a barrier to entry, or will they be able to learn that?
No, not at all, because we have a lot of rehearsal period, especially with me, where we break down the work. And with most of the choreographers that come in, who are resident choreographers. So, for instance, the modern and contemporary teachers get to create, and this year actually, Charlie is going to be creating as well. So there'll be time for them to retain and to go over the information. There'll be time in the evenings to do it as well. There'll be time on their own to do it as well. I mean, it's a college setting, so we're pushing them in a different direction. It's a kind of a boiler room, boiler maker, but I mean it feeds the soul, it feeds the voices.
Amazing. And is there opportunities in that final showcase for students to showcase their own choreography?
Yes, yes. During the composition class, we can't showcase them all, but the students have time and um, selected periods where they get to work on their compositions. They sign up for the studio space to do that. Um, the third week, we have a presentation of those compositions, and then the composition teacher, who is Sam Wentz, gets to select the final pieces, and there usually are four pieces selected.
And will they be like how long do they have to work on the things that are selected for the final dance presentation?
Usually, we designate that final week to so all the dancers are individually separated with choreographers. Those four choreographers are selected. We migrate all the choreographers, or the dancers that were in, and the choreographers that were in, are making other pieces into the four selected pieces, and they have 1 week to work on those. They have 2 hours in each evening of the last, the third week and the last week to work on those.
Great. And can you talk about the department size and how it's kind of broken down?
Well, we're luck and fortunate this year that the department size will go back to what it used to be, which is about 35, 38 dancers. Um, because we're moving into a new university and we have two very large studio, I'm going to have two different sections of dancers, two different levels or abilities. I mean, someone who is proficient in ballet might be less sufficient in modern and vice versa. So we're hoping to have two and possibly three. And then they work with individual instructors. So, say for instance, if you're lacking in ballet knowledge, you'll work with Chiharu Shibata, who is our ballet teacher, and she will work individually with the students to move them up to that medium level by the second or third week.
Mm.
And then we just, at the last week, kind of commingle all together. It's amazing to me every year the students who come in with not as much information, how they rise to the occasion. And this thing happens where the room is humming and they're all supporting and grooving together. It's beautiful.
And with the final dance presentation, are friends and family able to attend that?
No, CSER for the CSER students, it's not a performative audience-based things. Yes, the students who are attending CSER from other departments can come to the final presentation. It's close. It's intimate. It's special, and that's what makes CSER so special.
Wonderful. And if students, once they do their placement, if they start out at a certain level, is there a way for them to develop enough to go to the second level, or is where they start just kind of where they'll be throughout
Oh,
the 4 weeks?
so definitely, they definitely will move up. I mean, sometimes we place people in where they should not be placed, and we have to correct that. Um, but basically, if a student is working in a way that they need to be placed higher to push them more, then yes, definitely, definitely.
And even though you will give students classes in injury prevention, what happens if somebody gets injured? Are they still able to continue with the program?
Yes, we have an amazing health staff that really assists students when there are problems. But there are ways to work around it. I mean, there is notation, there is assistant, and there are ways to work around it. Yeah, I mean, it's not there. Dance is a whole spectrum of things. So listening and looking and learning is really amazing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So again, if anybody has any dance related questions or even any student life related questions, you can pop them in the chat
We've got
real
a
quick. Say that again, Gregory.
we've got a shy bunch.
I know, so shy. Ask your questions, why not? Or even you can unmute and ask any question, anything dance related. You're here, we're given an audience with the incredible, knowledgeable Gregory Dawson, consummate professional. You will get a crash course in dance with this man. He is Incredible. So please ask us any of your questions. Oh, wonderful. We got a question in the chat. So, someone is asking, will we take every dance course or do we get to choose what dance courses they take?
No, you don't get to choose what dance courses you take because it's an intensive and they're only 4 weeks. We've created a curriculum for you, and we can assess in the placements how we will do that.
Great. So even if somebody, has been doing ballet their entire lives but have never done hip hop, they're going to take the hip hop class, right?
Their job class, yes, they sure are.
Because you're really, making these dancers into well-rounded dancers, and you do that by all of the exposure to all these different kinds, right?
In age and to become a professional dancer, you choreographers want to work with dancers who are open to everything.
Amazing. Thanks for that question, Priscilla. Please put any more questions in the chat for Gregory. Students will live in the dorms. They'll usually have between 1 and 2 roommates, depending on how big the room is. And something that's really special is if you and a friend get into CSSSA together, you can request to live with each other and be roommates. That's usually really helpful, especially for students who this is their first time away from home. And Gregory, on that subject, do you have any advice for a student who is looking to come to CSIP but has never been away from home before?
I would say that when they arrive to really get to know their cohorts, um, usually, and when the students come to the program, they're just open to find new friends. So don't be afraid to do that because that's what CSIS is all about. Finding family for life.
Absolutely.
One thing I would like to say about injury, and we would really prefer that if dancers are come in that they're not injured, but if they are, they should let us know so that we know how to work with that injury.
Mm, great point. Thank you for adding that. Oh, great. We got another question in the chat. Um, we have a parent question. Their daughter has already applied for the writing program, but wants to switch to dance. How does she make the dance program her first choice? Um, I can field this one. You would submit another application for dance, and if she gets into dance, she just chooses dance. That's it. There's no way on the application to indicate like if you're applying for multiple programs, which is your first, which is your second. Your first choice is the choice that you make. So definitely submit another application. You can copy most of the information, like the contact info and transcripts and all that, but the arts assignment will need to be different, obviously, than the writing program. So we have another question in the chat here. Does CISA include point in their coursework?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely, yeah. We get a lot of point dancers every year, so um, Shiado usually gives them a variation to work with. We have point classes usually on the weekends, but oftentimes on Tuesday as well. And
And
it's how many gents or male identifying people we have, we'll have partnering classes as well.
And with point specifically, in order for students to take a point class, will they need to have experience in point or can they be new to it?
They must have had 2 to 3 years of point.
Very clear. Thank you. We have another question in the chat. Another student life related question. Are students able to come home on the weekends? And yes, you are able to be signed out by a parent or a guardian. A lot of students who live locally like to leave on the weekends. That's totally fine to go home and spend a night home. You would leave on a Saturday afternoon and you would come home on a Sunday evening. But I will say, that first week or first weekend that students are allowed to go home, there's usually quite a few that do want to go home, but then in the second and third week, you see that number drastically decrease because they want to be with their friends. They want to be, back at CISA engaging in the artistic experiences. So, that's a truth that I've seen happen in the CISA program.
Before they make that sign up, they need to check the schedule to see when their Saturday rehearsal period ends because oftentimes there are electives on Saturday. There are student choreography rehearsals on Saturdays.
Yes, make sure you check. You have to go
And
to
that,
all required classes and workshops. We have another question in the chat here. When are applications due for dance? They're due February 28th, 2026 at 6 p.m. It's the same deadline for all the different programs. And we strongly recommend that you submit that application at least 48 hours before the deadline. Again, because especially if you are applying for dance, you're going to upload that video and you want to make sure it is a smooth uploading process with that video. So definitely make sure you are applying early or as early as you can. Gregory, certain disciplines take field trips. Do you think there will be a dance field trip this year?
well, I hope so. We had last year ABT.
Mm.
Um, so I don't really know what that looks like this year yet because we're early in the process. Um, but I know that we'll have lots of special guests, coming to do master classes.
And those special guests sometimes include performances also, like
Oh,
companies come.
yeah, definitely.
Can you
Company.
talk about what special guests you've had in the past? Some examples?
Well, I have a company. They've come as well. We've had dancers from Lines Ballet come in. We've had dancers from Ballet Hispanico come in. Ballet Hispanico also did performances at the Dorothy, no,
Mm. Dorothy Chandler.
Chandler. And we went to the performance. One of the actual artists in the company I trained at the Lines Ballet School. And they came in to do several master classes with us. Other guests as well. I mean, they can check on the website to look at that as well.
Wonderful. And Gregory, students who are on the more professional dance track, is CSSA a great training program for
Oh,
them?
by all means. I mean, I understand the need and um, the trajectory that dancers should shoot for if they want to pursue a career in dance. So I try to bring in artists that will support that.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Any more questions?
There
Pop
was
them in the chat.
not that popped up.
Let's see. We've already answered when our applications due. Stacy has put in some information in the chat about about going home on the weekends and applying for financial aid. We encourage everyone to apply for financial aid. We have, we're able to support lots of students. So we encourage every single student, regardless of, their financial situation, to apply for financial aid. And it also has no bearing on whether or not a student makes it into the program. We don't even review financial aid applications until program applications are reviewed and you're in the program. So don't worry about, applying for financial aid, having some kind of strike against you. Absolutely not. Please apply for financial aid and be in the running to be fully funded to come to CISA. So we give out a lot of financial aid.
Please stress the need for it.
Yes, please, please, please apply. So we have another question pop into the chat here. Are there any uniform requirements or anything that you would recommend to pack,
Um,
Gregory?
all this information is on, if you go to the CISA website, it's on there. Um, there are specific attire that you should wear for specific classes. We are a campus of lots of students, so we just ask that our students in the dance department dress appropriately that bodies are covered and um, piercings, and because you can't really dance in those, try to come to the program with a normal hair color because there is a presentation afterwards. And so we would appreciate that there's uniformity. Um, but I really want you to feel free to do whatever you want to do, but there are some restrictions. So you should read on those in the on the website.
And Gregory, do you have a policy for like long nails?
We do a lot of partnering and we do a lot of tactile things. So we would appreciate that the nails are normal length. Um, we we um, promote not coming in with extra nails on.
Great. So we'll dive back into the chat here. When will students receive their schedule for the summer session?
You will receive that schedule when you come to registration.
Great.
That
And
is
you,
not the full summer schedule because it will change. The office has a master, but that changes as well. You will receive the first week schedule, and then that Saturday of the first week, you'll receive the second week schedule.
so you like to give students a week at a time, a week at a glance.
Yes.
Great. And then, like Gregory said, students will receive a master schedule of, basically everything that's going on for CISA, and parents will receive that too, right before the program begins, so that you can kind of get hyped up for all of the stuff that's going to go on.
I mean, it's a fun program. It's intense because there's a lot of movement and motion and study. Um, we're on a college university. You're getting college credits, so it's an academic experience.
Yeah, it's very important, incredible, life-changing.
Yeah.
I see another question in the chat. Are meals included in tuition? Yes, they absolutely are. If you have any dietary restrictions, that's something you could reach out to CISA to make sure you can be accommodated. But we definitely accommodate every kind of dietary restriction that's possible. And like I mentioned in the beginning, the dance students will be given a nutrition class. So they're gonna, figure out how to make the best choices that are going to fuel them for the summer, which will be rigorous, like Gregory said, right, Gregory?
Yes, you have to drink lots of water. It's really hot in Pomona. It's it's really interesting because I've been spending more time on the campus, and this is a new experience for me as well. And this campus is very different in the way that there's a Starbucks on campus. There are all these extra things on campus that weren't offered to us at CalArts. It could be a good thing. It could be a distraction, but we'll see.
Yes, we recommend bring a hat, walk in from building to building,
Oh,
definitely.
really, really hot.
It's going to be hot, but all the buildings and dorms have air conditioning. Say what one more time, Gregory.
We'll be indoors most of the time. So, yeah.
Great. We have another financial aid related question. If granted a scholarship, how is the application process the same or different? So I'll let Stacy weigh in a little bit here. I'll give my knowledge in the application. After you finish all the arts assignments and contact info and everything, it's going to ask if you wish to be considered for financial aid. You'll click yes, and then that application will populate. And then Stacy, do you want to talk a little bit specifically about what's in that application?
Yeah, so you actually, and I did post in the chat, and Jessica already mentioned this a little bit. You apply for financial assistance in the same applications. It's all together. You will probably need your parents to, well, not probably, you'll want to have your parents provide, there'll be additional documents that are required to apply for financial aid. And as Jessica mentioned, we don't even look at the financial aid until, to award scholarships. It is based on financial needs. So all of the applications, if they're awarded a full or partial scholarship, it's based on financial need. But so it doesn't change anything. The application is exactly the same if you apply for financial aid or you do not. So we don't even consider that information until you're invited. And then we look at whether or not to award each student based on that. But it doesn't change how you submit your application, which all of those components are due by February 28th. I also posted in the chat if you guys have any questions or need additional information, feel free to email comments at cesa.ca.gov as well. And since I had the floor for just a minute, I did want to ask Gregory, because I know this comes into the comments email from time to time related, is if a student attends a master class, do they still need to submit the application online and including the financial aid portion?
Oh, Gregory, you're muted.
Yes, they have to do the application, the process, everything. The application has to be adhered to all the questions asked. Yeah, even though went to a master class, they have to fill out applications.
Great. I see another question in the chat here. How many students per dorm room and will they have AC? Yes, absolutely. The dorms will have AC. You know, it really depends on how big the room is. You'll either have one roommate or you'll have two. The dorms are newly renovated, so they are top quality. You'll be very comfortable. And I am told there are several bathrooms on the floors. So you and your roommate or your two roommates will share a bathroom with people on the same floor. Ellie, Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong in the layout of the dorms.
That's correct. Yeah, there's multiple bathrooms on the actual residential floor. So you'd be sharing the bathrooms, multiple stalls, multiple shower stalls, multiple like toilet stalls for everyone to share.
Perfect. And on the subject of dorms, is there a chance to get a single dorm room?
Currently, that's not in the cards. It's just double or triple.
Double or triple? And will there be laundry on site? Of course, there will be laundry on site. Yes. For some students, this will be their first time, you know, doing laundry or having doing their own laundry. So we always recommend that you do one practice load before you come, so you get the hang of it if you've never done it before. But yeah, you'll have access to laundry machines. You do have to bring your own laundry soap, I believe, your own detergent, but you will have access to the laundry facilities to clean your clothes. And we recommend you do that. All right. Any more questions in the chat? If not, maybe we can end this webinar a little bit early. Oh, here's a great question. Can students bring a mini fridge? Stacy, I'm going to pop that one over to you or Ellie.
There's no room in your actual dorm room to keep a mini fridge. However, at Pomona in these brand new dorm complexes, there is like a communal area on the first floor that would be just for CISA, which does include a fridge as well as I think they also have a microwave. So yeah, there's like kind of a communal like hangout kitchen type of thing.
Oh, awesome. So you can load up on snacks and bring them to the community fridge or microwave.
Yeah.
Love that. Get your hot pockets, kids. Do people still eat hot pockets?
There will probably, if allowed, because we need ice in one of the ballet studios, so might be a small mini refrigerator in the ballet studio.
Great. And what about the nurse? Will the nurse facility be close to where they'll have classes?
I just got the word yes, they will be right behind what is the ballet building, the dance building. Yeah.
Great. That's a relief. Love that.
Really very near.
You won't have to travel far if you need ice or need a Band-Aid. This is a great question in the chat here. Are studios open after class hours, and are students allowed to warm up in empty studios before classes?
Yes, you won't be able to warm up by yourselves. Either me, Chiharu, Sam, Alejandro will open the doors for you to warm up. The studios are off limits for you to be there by yourselves. There has to be someone near the studios while you're in there. But yes, there will be studios available for you to do your composition work.
Great. Any other last lingering questions? Oh, how many dance students can you say, Gregory, will be accepted into the program?
30, between 35, 38.
Great. Between 30 and 38. That's how many students will be in class with you. Great. Well, if there are no more questions, we may close out this webinar a little bit early. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Gregory, for answering all of these wonderful questions. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Stacy. And thank you to everybody who joined us. We can't wait to see your applications and have you here with us this summer. It's going to be a great summer.
Thank you, Jessica.
Of course. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.
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 Ciao, ciao.